Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, let's make one of the most delicious Puerto Rican side dishes known as yuca en escabeche, which is essentially cassava root that is smothered in a delicious marinade. So let's get into it. Alright, so the yuca that I'll be using today is this Goya frozen yuca, but you can use any brand that you like. You can also use fresh yuca. I find that both frozen and fresh yuca have about the same cooking time. But just as a point of reference, I am going to boil the yuca per the instructions in the back of the package. We have a medium saucepan here filled with water, and I'm going to sprinkle a generous amount of salt because we want to ensure that the yuca is nice and seasoned when boiling. So for my yuca en escabeche recipe, I'm going to weigh about a pound of yuca. That is enough for about 5 adults as a side dish. I have my kitchen scale here, and it's gonna be a little over a pound because it's gonna be very difficult to get it exactly, but it's pretty good. Just an FYI, if you do not have a scale to weigh your yuca, don't worry about it. Just kind of do a little rough estimate, similarly to the amount that I have here. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and throw in my yuca in its frozen state in the water. And because I'm putting it in the pot in its frozen state, it is going to take a while for it to come up to a boil. I want to say all in all, from beginning to end, it took about 30 minutes to get about fork tender. Now, you want it to be tender, but not too soft, because you do not want the yuca to turn into mush when you are stirring all of the ingredients around. So once it's nice and tender, I'm going to go ahead and drain my yuca. And after I drained it, I went ahead and transferred the yuca into a clean bowl. And I'm going to go ahead using my fork and split them open. And I want to make sure that I remove the little root that is in the middle. It's very hard. It's not very pleasant to bite into when you are eating yuca. So just make sure that you try your best to remove all of those little root pieces. And then after I do that, with my fork, I don't need a knife or anything fancy. I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of chop it up a little. But you don't have to worry about how big you want it or anything like that, because remember, when we stir in all of our ingredients, the yuca tends to break down a bit and get small anyways. We don't want to chop it up too much, because what's going to end up happening is the yuca will turn into mush. Cassava is very high in starch, so that's the reason. It's not like a potato, where a potato is a lot more firmer in consistency. So we want to make sure that we're being pretty gentle with this vegetable. Now I have a small caldero here, but go ahead and use a saucepan, a frying pan, whatever you have. And I have it set over low heat. And I'm going to start to make my marinade for my yuca. I'm going to start by adding about half a cup of some oil. You can use olive oil, grapeseed oil, avocado oil, just like a really nice tasting oil. And then I'm going to go ahead and add 1 small chopped white onion. You can use as much or as little onion as you like, and I suggest cutting them into pretty chunky rounds. Then I'm going to go ahead and throw a bay leaf in there so that the flavor of the bay leaf can get infused in the oil. And I'm just going to give that a nice stir. Again, cooking this at lowish heat. I have an electric stove, so for me, I have this set at about a number 3. And I'm just going to stir it around really well. And the goal is to not fry up the onion. I just want to make it nice and soft. All right, now I'm going to add a couple of stuffed olives. You can use Spanish olives, alcaparrado, manzanilla olives, whatever you prefer. Then I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of chopped pimientos. Instead of pimientos, you can also use thin slices of a red bell pepper as well. Give that a good mix. All right, now I'm going to continue cooking this onion until it's nice and fragrant and the onions are nice and soft. And then on this low heat, I'm going to cover my pot, so that it can help speed up the softening process of the onion. All right, so this process took about 7 minutes. Give that a little stir. And next, I'm going to go ahead and add my yuca into my pot. And as you can see, I didn't really chop my yuca that much, but you're going to notice that it's going to naturally break apart on its own as I stir. So I kind of like chop up just like the really big pieces, and then the rest I just leave it up to the cooking process. Again, this is why it's very important to not overboil your yuca, because it is a very soft and tender root vegetable. Gonna give it a stir as best as I can to mix it up with that delicious marinade. And remember, I did add half a cup of oil. However, I will be adding a little more as I go. And this is just to my taste. As always, I always say you're gonna add everything according to your taste. So I'm gonna add a little extra drizzle because yuca tends to absorb oil very quickly. And we do not want this escabeche to be dry. So I'm gonna add a little more and stir as I go. I'm trying to be as gentle as possible because I don't want this to turn into a mashed yuca. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and add my spices. I'm gonna add a little bit of black pepper to taste. And then I'm gonna add about 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. You're gonna add this to taste. I suggest starting with 1 teaspoon. I also highly discourage you from using fresh garlic, and I will tell you in a minute. Use garlic powder, not fresh garlic. Now, to make this marinade complete, I'm gonna add some white vinegar. I'm gonna add about 2.5 tablespoons of vinegar. If you want to add a little more, you can. I suggest starting a little at a time until it's to how you like it. Now, the reason why you don't want to use fresh garlic is because since there's vinegar in this escabeche, in this recipe, if you add fresh garlic, because of the vinegar, something about the breakdown process, it's a whole science, but the garlic will turn blue. So while it will taste delicious, it will not look good. It will not look appealing because the vinegar will turn the fresh garlic blue. Again, use garlic powder. And I know this from experience. So yeah, I added 2.5 tablespoons of some vinegar, and as always, I will have all of the ingredients listed in the description box below. All right, using a clean spoon, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a taste test. And while it tasted absolutely delicious, I did forget to add a little extra salt. Now, I did add plenty of salt in the water when it was boiling, and it came out pretty seasoned, but I wanted to add a little extra pinch of some salt. And a little more garlic powder. Because remember, we're just seasoning this as we go. And a little more oil to finish it off. And my yuca and escabeche is good to go. And that is all for today's video. If you've enjoyed this recipe, please let me know in the comment section down below. Do not forget to give this video a thumbs up. It helps my channel a ton. And hit that notification bell because I come out with fresh new content regularly. Until next time.